Heartbreak in Iredell County. Police there say a purchase in a community park turned deadly within seconds. We know a teenager is dead, another fighting for his life, and we also have multiple arrests tonight. The shocking part of it all, the deal involved the selling of vape pens. WBTV's Ron Lee is live for us tonight from Mooresville. And Ron, you've been talking with investigators there and other folks for much of the day, so what more can you tell us right now?
Yeah, John, that's exactly right. Investigators here in Mooresville tell me that it was a robbery that took a dark turn, and that dark turn happening right here behind me. As you can see, the roadway as well as the park is still shut down. I'm told a group of teens met here to buy vape pens when somebody drew a gun and started firing. Caution tape still oversees a crime scene many who live in the Mooresville area can't believe actually happened.
That is pretty crazy to hear.
Brandon Self is a school teacher in the Mooresville area, teaching kids slightly younger than those who were involved in Monday's shooting.
It has a little more impact because, you know, trying to help the next generation be better people.
Police rushed to the scene at Mazeppa Park, north of the town, after getting calls of gunfire in the area. When they arrived, they say they found two teenagers who were shot. One didn't survive. It's a violent scenario people who live in other countries have a hard time wrapping their heads around.
You never really have that perspective that there could be somebody shooting each other or there could be an incident in such a nice area.
But it was when detectives started digging that the truth of what happened became clear.
It's a bit surprising.
Police say two groups met near the athletic fields to sell and purchase THC vape pens. The sale turned into an attempted robbery, which spiraled out of control into a shooting, leaving two teens hit. One group scrambled out of the area in their car, but were quickly corralled by Statesville police. As charges were handed out, the weight of the crime became evident. Charged so far are 19-year-old Brian Isvado, 17-year-old Hermani Jimenez, 17-year-old Jonathan Jimenez, 16-year-old Christopher Ventura, and 16-year-old Christopher Lazo. Two other adults, 19-year-old Carlos Garcia and 20-year-old Christian Chavez, have been charged with assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill. Police closed down the entrance all day Tuesday while the investigation continued. An investigation that stunned people trying to enjoy a simple, nice day at a local park.
It's terrible. It's terrible, our world that we live in. It's just terrible. I have no words. I'm so sorry. That's terrible.
Now, another juvenile has also been charged and will be named as soon as that person has been placed in handcuffs. For now in Mooresville, I'm Ron Lee. WBTV, on your side.